One of the things I've kind of gathered from the conversation we have is the importance of team. So how important is it to have the right people inside and outside of the business when you start up?
The team is the most important thing. You know, if you get the wrong people, and we've had a couple of people that weren't right, and the headaches it causes of trying to get the person to be, the person you want them to be, or to do the role in the way you want them to do it, just by virtue of the fact that we didn't have a lot of money. The type of people that we hired were people that were straight out of university, straight out of school. So what we looked for was not people that had specific skills, or even specific experience, but we looked for people that had something, you could see it in their eyes, ambition and passion for life. I always would ask people what they did outside of work, especially if you hire someone that's come straight out of school. There's no point quizzing them, what's your favourite subject or whatever. You can tell in the first 5 minutes if this is someone that you're going to be able to get on with and probably work with. My one girl joined as my PA. She'd been working in her boyfriend's dad's car garage doing the admin. She joined as my PA. Within a couple of years, she was running an account management team. She's now a client services director, so she's one of the most senior people in the business. The people that we hired would get to fairly senior positions within the business quickly by the fact the business was growing fast, there was no one above them. And they were doing jobs that they were capable of doing, but they probably wouldn't get the opportunity to do elsewhere. We always had accountants, and I think that's vital. And any company, regardless of size, needs to have accountants. Meet some people that try and do it themselves, which is a nightmare. And it might cost a little bit of money, but it's so valuable having your employment contracts, your client contracts, anything that you're putting your name to, making sure it's been properly drafted. I know people that have gone and got stuff off the internet and used that. And you get to the point of sale and someone's seeing something you've printed off the internet, it's what you've based your whole business on. The other thing we did, and which I wish we'd done earlier, was we brought in a part-time FD, who's still here now, he's the COO now. Having that person, that kind of financial person, a professional, looking at the numbers, analysing it, helping us kind of figure out what our cash flow was. Because it's something that as an entrepreneur, you're expected to know and expected to be able to do. That's a real key piece of advice is bring in an FD, even if it's once a month, pay them a couple £100 a day and let them just give you some of that advice.
I understand the importance of the team at startup. And I'm sure that it must have been really, or just as important, or even more important when you sold. How important was the team in helping you in your decision to sell?
When we sold, we also had 2 non-exec directors, and they'd been with us about 2 years. I think that as the business grows, whether or not you're looking at a sale, having the right non-execs, even though it seems like a lot of money to get someone in once or twice a month, is so worth it. Someone with relevant experience. Having been working with them for 2 years, we trusted them, we respected their opinion, they'd helped us grow the business. So when we got this approach from DMGT and the subsequent offer, we were able to sit down, 3 of us plus the 2 non-execs, and have a conversation with people who really understood the business. The talk of a sale can be very distracting. You certainly don't want it out in the market, because if clients think that there could be something going on, they might not want to commit. A lot of people go and spend money on brokers and people to represent the company if you're selling it. My advice is, if you're confident and you do a lot of sales yourself, you probably don't need that. We felt that we were good enough at negotiating, and we had really good tax advisors and accountants, and we had really good lawyers. And so with their advice, we felt we were able to negotiate the whole deal ourselves.
What key lessons have you learned as a result of selling the business?
Because I'd spent pretty much my whole 20s doing it, so almost my whole adult life, if you like, had been invested in Broadbean. I loved it. It was, what it defined me. I lived for it. So the thought of selling it, if you've got an emotional tie to the business, it is unquestionably the hardest decision you'll probably have to make, because you're practically on your own. The only other person who could make the decision was my business partners. And at one point, they wanted to sell and I didn't. And so we were kind of stuck. And so the only people that really understood the position I was in was my 2 business partners, who had an entirely opposing view to me. It's probably the most alone I've ever felt in my life, was trying to make that decision. And I had to go away for a week and just sat and thought about it, and just, it was constantly on my mind. I mean, you can make big decisions in business and you can screw them up and you can come back for them and you learn. With this one, you sell it and you don't want to, it's gone. There's no going back. And so that, having that team around you is absolutely vitally important. Having that kind of support network around you makes that decision just that little bit easier. And it is only a little bit easier, but you know.
But it does help. Okay, brilliant. Well, thanks a lot, Dan. It's been absolutely fascinating, and I'm sure a lot of our pioneers, when they're watching this, they're going to learn a lot. So I really appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Oh, thanks for having me.
In the early stages of the business, don't worry about an exit strategy. Focus more on growing the business. From day one, make sure you document your business growth. Just in case you want to sell the company in the future, you will save yourself a lot of money if you have all your contracts and paperwork in order. Make sure you surround yourself with a good team of advisors, whether that be an accountant, a financial director, lawyers or non-executives, and preferably not your family. But remember, the final decision is down to you. Thank you for watching. We'd like you to post a video response with your thoughts and opinions on virginmediapioneers.com.